And we're live on July 5th, 2016. And we'll be reviewing... Do you want to say the title, Jeff?
It's the much anticipated Children of Auron. I got the name right.
Yes,
Right?
Yes. Right, I just put that.
Which I saw like a week and a half ago. Definitely need the plot summary to refresh my memory as to what happened in that. So.
Ah, okay. So I'll go to the longer one in the Tony Atwood book. Right, here we go. Here's a little factoid for you. The guy that played Daryl has an interesting name. Rio Fanning. Sounds like a woman's name. Rio Fanning. Right.
All right.
What we got here? Right. Right. Servalan launches a plan against Auron, which will wipe out its entire population. The plan takes advantage of the isolation Auron has practiced in recent years, which has left its populace susceptible to plagues from outside. In order to introduce the virus that figures in our plan, Servalan captures an Auron spaceship, infects the pilot, and sends him back to his home base to spread the disease. Do you know who played the pilot?
Yeah. Burt Reynolds.
No. I think it was Patrick Troughton's son.
Oh, really? He was the pilot. What?
The pilot, the guy in the front, he had like an inflatable toilet seat around his neck. I'll show you him later.
I don't remember that.
Those two. Effective. In the very beginning?
Yes, that guy, yeah.
Or I don't remember.
Right, spread the disease. Then when distress call goes out, she answers it and prepares a drug which will overcome the plague. Okay. Right, on the Liberator, Avon wishes to visit Earth to revenge the death of his girlfriend, Anna Grant. But this plan is aborted when Callie receives a telepathic message from Zelda, informing her of the situation of Auron. The Liberator makes for the planet. Oh yes, and you have some plot MacGuffin by the fact that because they're related, the telepathic range is greater. The true nature of Servalan.
Yes. Universe.
Yeah. Well, you know these NFs, their powers are inconsistent.
No, you know, it's like the friends and family plan in the mobile networks. You know?
Yep. The true nature of Servalan's plan becomes clear. She wishes both to capture the Liberator, counting on Callie's return to Auron in its hour of need, and to use the cloning process developed on Auron in order to create children in their image. That's because the clone masters were destroyed in the war, so she says. Right. Using suits worn by Aurons, actually it's the Auronar. Using suits worn by the Auronar, who have come to the ship to be captured. Oh, wait a minute. Using suits worn by the Auronar, who have come to the ship to be cured of the disease, Servalan and Captain Daryl then penetrate the bioreplication plant. They capture Tarrant, Avon, and Callie, who are already on the base trying to help. Using her telepathic powers, Zelda helps rescue the crew of the Liberator, who escape to the bioreplication plant in the faith that Servalan will not risk destroying her own children. Once there, a plan is devised for clinician Franton to take enough genetic material to clone 5,000 individuals and thus save the race. She is teleported up to the Liberator with everyone except Zelda, who stays to adjust the replication plants. Meanwhile, one of the Servalan's officers, Ginka, anxious for promotion, tricks the Supreme Commander into believing that the genetic banks have been switched and her genes are not being replaced on Auron. She therefore gives the order to destroy the plants, only to feel the death of their children as the bombs hit. Callie likewise senses the death of Zelda, but the genetic stock of the race of the Auronar is saved and transported to another planet while Servalan kills both Daryl and Ginka. Bring back any fond memories?
I remember some things from it.
I think Morgan liked the explosions.
Morgan does usually like explosions, yeah.
I think they're actually kind of weak in that episode.
I remember that Servalan's outfit suited her better than previous outfits. She definitely looks better in black than in white. But I remember it was a horrifying prospect for there to be a bunch of clones of her. You know, one is bad enough.
Yeah, but they'd probably turn out different.
Once again, they create a character better than her, and then they have to kill him off because they have the dude who's he's not the captain, but he wants to be the captain. Then he got passed over by the other guy, and then yeah, he's like the efficient one, and then ends up getting killed because he lied to Servalan about the clones or whatever because he wanted to destroy the place. Yeah, that guy.
Right. Right, this is... Apparently that's David Troughton. Oh, wait a minute. It might be David or Michael. Oh. Where did I put the book? See, I got mixed up with one of them.
I know that David Troughton was in the Doctor Who story Curse of Peladon. He played the king.
Yes.
And then many, many years later in the new Doctor Who, he came back and played like a professor or something. I can't remember in the story called Midnight, I think is the name. The one where everybody was trapped on the train. And various characters. And he has done several audio stories for Big Finish. At least one where he was performing his character of the Second Doctor. Started to say the character of his father, but he wasn't actually playing his father. He was playing the character that his father played.
Ah. Right, so they had these good-looking women in the background, but they never, like, went in close on them. Why would they do that? What's the point of casting them if it's going to have them right in the background?
I don't know. You ask the director.
Well, maybe the director got what he needed out of them. Right. So, we'll go through the slides later. I've got the... where are they? So you don't remember any pros and cons of the episode?
Well, I think I mentioned a couple. Like I liked the guy that you showed earlier. I don't remember his character's name, otherwise I would say it.
Ginka.
Inca?
Yeah, Ginka, the Oriental dude.
Yeah. So that was a pro, but the con was that they killed him off because once again they can't allow anyone who's more competent than Servalan to stay around, which is everybody. So everybody gets killed.
So So, if one of Servalan's plans worked, it would be the end of the series. So
Yeah, that's the dilemma you always face when you set things up that way, to have like the foil character, because they can't ever completely succeed. But in a way they can, because in an ensemble show you can still have things affected. You can have characters killed off and things like that. So.
Exactly. And we've already had that. We've had Gan. I mean, if you do it the other way around,
even that was lame though, because she didn't kill him directly. Like if she had actually killed Gan, in that situation, they could have set up a thing where she actually did, and she would have been more menacing a character. Instead, it's sort of like, well, that just happened accidentally in the course of the action.
She killed Dana's father.
Yeah, so I'm not saying she didn't do it to anybody, but what's her face, the mother of the rebel leader chick. Her name was, I can't remember. It's been too long.
I mean, lots of times we talk.
Yeah, saying that that the main character death that occurred she wasn't directly responsible for that. So.
But, okay, what did you think of Jacqueline Pearce's acting?
She's a decent actor.
Right. Yeah, I thought she was very good in this episode. Pencil these eye shots. Right, so, but I mean, lots of time in science fiction, I mean, for instance, on Star Trek, it's, well, their success. Nearly. Whereas in this, it's, because of the way it's set up, it's just them staying alive is them being successful. Because
yeah.
The forces of antagonism are so great, whereas in Star Trek they sort of like piss on everyone. And
I don't remember that episode.
But like initially the Borg were introduced as this thing that as like this big threat that they do just escape from, and then eventually it makes the enemies look pathetic when they're beating them all the while.
I agree with the people that said that one of the problems from the outset with the Next Generation was that they made the Klingons integrated into the Starfleet.
Yeah.
But they didn't even really use that in an effective way. Like either they should have left the Klingons as a menace, not had them be like, okay, they're friendly now, or they should have played up the integration angle, like, had more situations where getting discriminated against by other, Starfleet people because he's a Klingon. Right? They had some episodes like that, but it was like, it sort of, in a way, sort of neutered the Klingons. It was like they weren't that threat anymore,
Well, you see, it's a perfect socialist society, so there wouldn't be any discrimination.
Even the new movies did that, because the second movie, the Klingons made like a cameo appearance in it. So definitely not been much appreciation for the Klingons since the original series. To the movie. Anyway,
what I would say is the guy that played Worf was good.
Oh yeah.
And he would get like you just give him a slight. He would get all of the humor out of the situation without overdoing it.
Oh yeah, and when it was him and Brent Spiner together, some of the Data Worf scenes are some of the most hilarious stuff they ever do, because they're so great at both being completely serious and in character, and some of their conversations are.
I mean, now when I look back at the series, like if I ever see it, to me it's obvious it's got the best acting out of and that might be one of the reasons why it was successful more than the other ones. Mm-hmm. Right, so we go to...
Wish I could say so the way you do. I can't do it.
Okay, thank you. Right, here we go. I'll move it up when you want me to.
So, this book, when they have the guest stars there, and it starts with Rick Young, Ginka, I would have stuck a fake one in there next and called him Baloba. Boba.
No, I did that.
Like, roots or whatever the people use for like energy boosts or whatever. That's immediately what I think of when I see Ginka.
Did you say roots? Was that a black drama, Roots?
Yeah, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about real roots, like plants.
Oh, right. Right then. Yeah, Servalan's wacky spaceship.
Yeah, I noticed the gong sound effect too. Now that I read that, I remember that. You're like, oh, we need to call attention to this guy being Asian, so let's have a gong sound effect.
I just thought it was cool. Because it was at the right moment. It wasn't just like, oh, first time you see him and then you put the gong on. It was like at the moment where he's like.
Well, yeah, obviously it could have been much worse.
Triumphant.
Gong for him have his first line be "so."
Yeah, I mean, if it was like the first time he picked,
wasn't that bad.
Because it was like in his moment of triumph where he's got them down there and he lifts up the. So I thought it was well timed, and it's the sort of thing that you would have seen in films.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about that? Can you say that, Jeff? The painter line.
Receiving a psychic message, Zelda via the Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, what is the Ocarina of Time?
Oh, the Ocarina of Time.
It's a Zelda video game.
Oh.
So they're making a video game joke with the name Zelda.
I'll have a go at this one. Full Emergency Procedures Operative Retriever 1.
Avon appears to be sitting on a cactus. I don't know. I don't get what that's in reference to, but it's funny.
Can you say this line up here?
Probably.
Do you want to try? No, okay.
I'm not your puppet, Ben.
I'll have it on the record that I tried to say it and you've not. That
Right.
you wimped out.
There's no wimping involved. Just didn't want to. Doesn't prove anything.
Yeah, that's the episode you liked her in. Time Squad. I think that was her first episode. You keep bemoaning the fact that she's not like that all the while.
Yeah, well, she's one of multiple characters that had better setups than execution. At least in this episode, the psychic stuff made a little bit more sense in the way it was used, as opposed to that one where they were like, she was like talking to the plants or whatever it was, or the fungus or what, mushrooms, whatever it was.
Yeah, there were a lot of layers going on in that. That would have been better as a novel.
Yeah. Well, this was This one was a little more straightforward in its weirdness. So
Do you have mauve in the United States, or do you pronounce it differently?
do we have mauve? I don't know. What is it? Maybe I know. I can tell.
It's a color.
No, I'm sorry. That color's been outlawed in the United States. As far as I know, we have all the same colors. That I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe.
I don't know. You might pronounce it in a different way. You might pronounce it movie or something. I don't know.
Movie. Yeah, I don't know. I might have heard someone say mauve. I don't remember. It's not like it's a word I hear on a regular basis.
Right.
Interior decorator, unlike some ESFPs. I don't fulfill that stereotype. The thing about the inflatable.
I'll try and look for it.
It sounds funny, but
right. This thing around his neck.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I always try to get the bits. I know you like the little captions. With the... Yeah, that's right. They did a crane shot from the back to the front. Like, it was just pointless. Oh yeah, they got Servalan's wacky ship. That it looks like a humpback whale or something. I don't know.
It reminded me of the ships from the movie Space Raiders. Have like organic look to them, like they were, not just like metal and steel type. Sort of made of some organic material.
So they why did they like
material? I don't know what the right word would be.
So that was quite good.
Speak out loud, Ben.
Yeah.
Playoffs.
I've seen your wide receiver shade.
There we go.
No, he seems a bit shady to me. Ominous instrumental music.
Alright.
Dun dun dun. Crikey, this Zelda looks a lot like Callie.
Well, they did say the clones.
And so within a few seconds of a discussion cropping up about Auron, Callie should suddenly sense her people are all dying. Jared appears to be hiding 6 brown lobsters under his shirt. You can see their heads poking out. I was trying to think of a good comment about put it in that picture, and they topped me, and that's better than anything I could come up with.
High pace.
Avon's plans for vengeance will have to wait for later. Next week, probably. Avon's plans get ever more desperate to the point where she... when it disappears...
I was thinking here, look, they're sat rather close to each other, these two. And, in the previous episode, there were not much love lost between them. Right.
Well, they've obviously been to the Renaissance fairs since then, and they split a turkey leg and had a great time.
Right.
So as I was trying to say, well, you got to scroll up a little further than that. It's getting to the point where she'll prop up an upturned box with a stick attached to a piece of string and put a cupcake underneath. That's kind of a convoluted joke, but... Ginka seems a little bitter about his final personnel review. There. I'm just gonna take a shot in the dark. Feel free to make fun of me if I got this wrong. Was that the name of the captain on the original prison ship from the first season?
What, H? No. It's the name of a background artist. Just a double. And what they did is they got him to write the foreword in the book.
Okay. Because what I did notice was that the guy who played one of the Auron dudes that was, telling people to do stuff was the same actor season playing that captain guy.
Not Glyn Owen, because I've recently seen he is somebody it was a different guy, because that guy's a very well known actor in England, and he was a big part of he was a big part of this series.
Because they look almost exactly the same.
Big part of Howard's Way, and because he played like the SJ boat builder, he would only build boats made out of wood, and it was very traditional. Whereas Howard wanted all like modern plastic boats, and so this was like the British version of Dynasty. It went for 6 years, and was hugely popular. And it's actually had this guy in. You'll recognise this guy. Did you see him there at the top? He was in Doctor Who stuff. He was in Genesis of the Daleks. That guy at the top.
The way the pictures are on that with the camera, there's no way to recognize those faces. At least for me. I don't know. Somebody who's got some kind of vision might be able to.
Right, so here's another one. Yeah, anyway, that's Stephen Yardley, who played the Mutoid in Genesis of the Daleks. But yeah, that was a very popular. I think you would like Howard's Way. It's very soapy. Right. What have we got here?
Anyway, I was just saying that I noticed the return of that actor. That's all I was saying.
Okay. But Glyn Owen wasn't in it.
I don't know who Glyn Owen is, so all I'm saying is that guy.
Well,
that was. I get that, but if they're not the same guy, then they look almost identical. That's all.
Right, because Glyn Owen played the captain on the London in episode 2.
Well, I may be remembering wrong. It might have been not that character, but I know I recognized him. So
right,
because it wasn't the first time I saw that actor.
Right, because I could always show you the credits from each episode next to each other.
I don't want to see the credits. I'd rather see the two guys.
Right. Okay. I will try my best.
What I'd like to see is a picture of of the guy that was in this episode we're talking about.
Right. Okay. Here we go. One of the middle-aged guys. One of the 40. Right. Was it this guy?
Yeah.
That's not Glyn Owen.
Okay. Well, I didn't say it was. But where has he been on before? Because he was in something.
I don't know.
Okay.
Now, talking of coincidences,
I just guessed it was the captain because it was the guy who had been like some kind of dude looking intense like that before, so I figured that was the guy.
Yeah,
I mean, could be wrong. Well,
that's
in that episode.
That's Glyn Owen. He was the captain in. Unfortunately, it's not focusing.
Yeah, you can't see from that, Ben. My screen. So.
Really, at all?
Anyway, it's not worth wasting a lot of time on that. I just noticed that I'd seen the guy before. So
But anyway,
go on to the next.
so that's Glyn Owen. Now, who is this here? Do you recognise him?
Can't see stuff on the DVD pictures.
You can't see anything.
They don't come in clear enough on my screen to recognize people in that.
Oh, right. Well, this guy here, that is Travis 1. That's the first Travis.
I'll take your word for it.
And then this is the guy that played the Mutoid, Stephen Yardley. And this, you know who this is? Oh!
No, what's the name of the actor who was in this one, the guy you showed me?
Okay.
No, because that's what I'm really trying to find out.
Okay.
I recognize him.
Okay. Right, let's have a look.
And I can do that separately while you go on. We don't have to like suspend time to.
Right, okay. Because you can't really trust the other cast list. Alright. Not Rumors of Death. Children of Auron. You've got Ronald Lee Hunt, who may be him. Oh, I don't know why it's not focusing. I've got the bad camera. It's either going to be Jack McKenzie or Ronald Lee Hunt.
So moving on.
Yes, moving on. But yeah, he was a big character in Howard's Way, was Glyn Owen, and that's when I first saw him. Because he played Jack Rolfe, the SJ boat builder. Right. Because I watched Howard's Way when it was originally transmitted. It was originally transmitted in 1985. Right, so let's look at these. Go back here. Go back to these old people. Okay, that's him. Oh, I can't hear anything. Right, Peter was probably the guy towards the end. That'll be him. Right. Hey there, Jeff. Your sound's gone.
Here.
Right, okay. So yeah, I mean, it looks like that's the guy. Well, no, you know it's... Sorry, I got all confused. You know that's the guy, but you don't know his name. Right. Right, it's probably Ronald Lee Hunt. Right, where we go? Right, where did we... Oh yes, there we go. Massively impractical. Yes. That's right, she did keep the gun. The one that she shot Harold Mellenby with.
Okay, so the Ronald Lee Hunt guy was in 2 different Doctor Who stories, so that may be what I'm remembering.
Mm. Yeah, because when Glyn Owen was in Blade 7, It's just the same voice as Jack Rolfe. Right.
Apparently, there's a spoiler related to Zelda's screaming.
Oh, yes.
All right. Well, wait. The thing with the times where you removed spoilers is that at some point in the future, when they're actually happen, you got to remember to tell me what they were, because otherwise, I'll never know.
Well,
You'll have to go back on the previous ones and.
Well, you do like to rewatch these reviews.
Well, right. So okay? You're putting it on me to. Feel like, but see, that's the thing is I don't know if it's happened yet or not. So that's you're the one that has to find it. Tell me because.
Is it okay if I tell you which episode it happens in?
Well, I don't mean that right now. I mean, there's been previous reviews where you whited things out and said they were spoilers. So I mean, when we get to the episode where that thing, whatever it is revealed, then I'm just saying, tell me that's what it was, as opposed to me just never knowing.
I'm not a Trekkie. I don't have like an encyclopedic knowledge of when to go back and show. Oh, this thing.
No, but you're capable of rewatching the reviews also. And you don't keep like I can't. I'm a caveman. I don't understand technology, so I don't even know how you white that out. You white out a paper and then scan it.
What it is, I take the scan and then I put it in a program called K-Paint, and I just remove it digitally.
Well, if you do that, then you can look at the previous ones and see what you whited out, and then when you can make I see what after you've shown it to me, make a little note. Because I know you're capable of making notes.
I tell you what, I'll do that now. I'll write on the piece of, I'll write when that on that episode, and I'll say, right.
And then that's the thing is I could go back and watch the reviews and find where the spoiler things were, but I don't know what they are, so I can't know whether or not we've come to them yet or not. That's all I'm saying.
That's a good point because I'll just write it on the book. Now, I will let you know that one of the episodes in season 4, they refused to cover. Or they just decided not to cover it. Probably because they didn't think it was very good. They just didn't cover it. Well, there's an episode called Animals. There's no guide entry for it in the book because they decided not to cover it.
Saying the book just skipped it. Okay.
Yeah, the book just skipped it, and they said we're not doing it.
You gotta remember to use the nouns, not always pronouns, because I don't know what you're referring to all the time.
Yeah. So it actually has it in the index where it says animals intentionally missed out the episode guide, so take that smug grin off your face.
All right. Well, I guess I'll see when we get there.
Right.
But anyway.
So I will. I won't tell you which episode I'll write it on, but I'll write it down on the right episode about going back to page. In fact, in this book there are no page numbers in the Maximum Power book.
Well, and I will try to do the work of going in back in the previous reviews and finding at least what episode we're talking about when you showed those, and then you can look and see what that actually is.
Well, I'll just write it in pencil on the guide and say,
What'd you say?
Right.
Yes, we're doing.
Like, you're not really talking about anything.
I know, but I don't know what I can do to get it back on track. Like, I don't really have much to say about it. I don't. Yeah, you're right. I agree. I give this episode
Right.
about a 5, I guess. So.
Well, you've got your stuff there to talk about on screen. There you go. I'll move it up when you tell me to move it up.
Then selects Karn as a suitable planet for the Auron gene stock, which is fine unless you've watched the Doctor Who story, The Brain of Morbius. Then I guess the planet was named Karn on that too. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I saw that. An entire planet's population is destroyed. There's been a desperate struggle for a race's survival, and the Liberator crew sit around noshing fruit and laughing like drains. I don't know where the drains laugh.
Oh well.
Next.
Right.
Recumbent as he is for much of this episode, you can only get Aaron's body this week. As a consequence, he's 50% less bothersome. All right. Next.
Right. Yeah, I'm just writing down that note. Show second scan for Children of Auron and tell Jeff what the spoiler was. Right. So I've written that on a certain episode next season.
Okay.
Well, you wanted to know.
You you want an episode, Ben?
Pardon?
Do you want to tell your thoughts on this episode? Because you haven't really said.
I thought Jacqueline Pearce's acting was very good.
Okay.
I thought that it was good at giving a little bit more background on Callie, and it set up the next episode about Avon's revenge. The plot wasn't particularly.
The next episode.
Pardon?
No, I know what the next episode's about.
Well, they said what was going to happen.
Who did?
Well, they talked about it. They said, "Does that rate higher than your revenge?" and all this kind of stuff.
So anything mentioned in this episode is automatically going to happen next week?
Well, maybe it doesn't.
Good cover there. Whole thing's a ruse. The next episode's really about a giant marshmallow.
Right, so you liked her more in this outfit than in white.
Yeah. Yes, that was an improvement to what she normally wears. That guy's ninja hat wasn't necessary, though.
That's just being said.
Yeah. You're just going back and forth between those two, like having an invisible but inaudible standoff between the two. You just kept flipping back and forth between Servalan and the Ginka guy.
Well, yeah, you mentioned something about him, about the hat.
Mm-hmm. I did. You're right.
Oh, yeah, there weren't that many good lines in this one. That was quite a funny line.
Callie borrowed one of Nyssa from Doctor Who's outfits for this episode.
Yes, that's right.
whenever he talks about anything related to the past, he always does that, like, gaze off into... Look.
Yeah, he's quite stagey as an actor. Paul Darrow.
Like, he doesn't do that the rest of the time, but when he's talking about any kind of, like, memory thing, he always does that thing where he's, like, staring off screen, not the camera.
Well, actually, that is something that Dario says that INTJs do, where they go in like a trance-like state and like stare off into the distance. And actually, someone said that Roan the Plant did that. But he actually met him, and he would like go into that, like he would think, and his eyes would go like that, staring off into the distance. He's that comedy exaggerated INTJ guy, Roan the Plant.
Okay. I still don't know who that is, but that's okay. We can move on. She was important to me. Yeah, that dude just like the guy with his legs, like he just doesn't fit. He's from some other show.
What, this guy in the middle?
He's from some he's from some Robin Hood show, and he's walked onto the wrong set.
Well,
he's just he's hanging out there in the break room, waiting for his scene.
Well, it's not a spoiler to say I think there's an episode centered around him in this season that I think you and Morgan will really like.
All right, we'll see. Let's see if he has a run-in with Prince John and brings Friar Tuck and a band of merry men. Ship looked like almost like a Star Wars ship.
Well, when they did Seek, Locate, Destroy, they tried to copy some elements from Star Wars. They talked about that in a documentary. In terms of the rescue of Avalon. No, sorry, Project Avalon. That was it. Yeah, this guy, apparently the name of this actor is Rio Fanning.
Sounds like a good actor name. Suspenseful instrumental music continues. That's good. Need to take a screenshot of that one.
Never good a Villa line. I think the three most popular characters in this are Servalan, Avon, and Villa. And that's one of the reasons why they keep working him into all these episodes. Servalan.
Well, one of those is justified.
So yeah, people took. I think Kim Newman, a science fiction episode, said that Servalan was fantastic, but she took over the whole show.
Yeah, she's not fantastic. They're wrong.
Well, if she had longer hair, you might like her more.
If she had longer hair, I might think she was better looking, but that wouldn't make the character better.
Right. So I looked up the word inanity. It means senseless. So basically, isolationism is gutless senselessness. Silence. Yeah, they really had to zoom in on this to make the model look bad.
It looks kind of like an ice cream sandwich. And we got Spock. Yes. The next scene, you got Spock over on the left.
Oh yes, he does, doesn't he?
See?
Now, I heard that they actually did that on one of the Canadian notes, where they said they spot when Leonard Nimoy died. They sparked because there was the president that looked like Leonard Nimoy, Prime Minister of Canada, and they would like put these ears on their notes because it looked very much like him. And they were telling the people, don't do it, because they were defacing their currency,
Right.
in their opinion.
Oh, you notes like
Banknotes, yeah.
bills?
Yeah, I should have said banknotes.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know what notes you were talking about. That's okay. That's effectively creepy looking.
Yeah.
Good job on the makeup.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that was something that improved a lot over the next 10 years when they had... you saw that in Doctor Who. Well, you won't have seen it just yet, but like in the last couple of seasons, the makeup got a lot better with the latex. Oh, I thought this was well done. The way this was staged.
That picture could sum up several different scenarios on this show. One person kind of staring off in the distance, and the other two looking at her like, what?
Yeah, I call this an NF moment. But I thought this bit was well staged because it started with the close-up, but then the camera moved away. Then Avon moves his hand across the screen, and then he moves across, and then she comes there, and then the others. So it's staged quite well. Rather elaborate choreography.
Yeah, and it's good, like character there for the two other personalities, because you got the NT looking like, is there any useful information I can glean from this? And then the SP looking at her like, say what now?
Except that Dana doesn't sound like Lewis. She sounds
True.
more like Hambleton.
That was my addition.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, it's called humor by mischaracterization.
Ooh. I'll write that down. All right. I'll write that down.
Although actually that's not accurate. It's not actually mischaracterization. It's just changing the voice. So
now, the reason I took this this photo was to ask you, do you think that's a syrup? A syrup of figs? A wig? Do you think that's a wig?
I know what a wig is. I don't know what any of those words you said before that are.
I
But
said syrup of figs. A syrup.
syrup. of
It's slang for a
figs.
wig. A syrup.
Okay, never heard that.
Right. Okay.
Actually, no. It kind of looks more like a comb over than a wig.
Hmm.
Usually, when they're actually wearing a wig, they make it look more. Well,
Oh!
they make it look better.
Now, in the documentary for season 3, they've actually not made the documentary because Kevin Davis. Do you know Kevin Davis because he's done some Doctor Who things?
No.
Well, he's done a documentary on season A. He's done one on season B. He's not done one on season D. But in the one for season C, the actress Jan Chappell said that she tried to make them different. But did you notice any real difference in acting style between Zelda and Callie?
Zelda seemed more timid and kind of just reserved in general. So obviously they didn't really show much about how Callie was when she was still living there or anything, but at least when she's been with the others, whereas Zelda seemed like she pretty much just followed orders until the end when she didn't follow the orders. But previous to that, she didn't seem to really assert much of her opinion of anything. It was just sort of like, everything was like, well, maybe we should do this or whatever. Don't you think this would be good? And the other girl's like, no, it's terrible. Do this other thing. She's like, okay. Yeah, that was my very good impression of.
Yeah. And then you got Avon having an INTJ moment. Yeah, emotion is a bad thing.
Isn't everything he says an INTJ moment?
Pretty much. Some more than others.
Yeah. Somber instrumental music. I think that's a new one.
Yeah, no, I always look. Sometimes I'm thinking, like, do they, they've got to try and get some variety in there.
It's a great game. I couldn't have the sound on.
Oh.
But I can't hear.
I don't know if the Auron are meant to be actually properly alien, because they did use the word humanity in reference to them. So
I got one that brought us back to win the last touch.
that might explain why they have the English decontamination on their planet.
I don't think that's my knowledge. That's my recruiting point.
Oh.
I might be able to look up what my yard.
It's alright. So yeah. Stuff happened.
Yes, that was the point they did the gong, I think. No, that might.
Well, you asked that, Morgan, because right as you did on the screen, it said no. But hidden. No. Back to no. Yeah, see that helmet right there, like that, the way it is there, that looks kind of cool. Of course, it looks like he's a welder, but anyway. Fit in total looks pretty cool.
Yeah, especially with this sort of bandolier of pockets. It's as if
He's slowly turning into a transformer.
Yeah, another good line from Villa.
It's a good yeah, that was a good reference actually to saying Transformers, because that Genka dude was like Shockwave to Servalan's Megatron.
Ooh, that's interesting.
This should have been.
That's interesting because in the comics, Shockwave was very logical, and he took over command from Megatron.
Yeah, which because it makes sense for that to happen, but on the cartoon, on the TV show, they didn't, because I don't know, just decided.
Because the cartoon was not as good as the comic. The comic was
in the cartoon, they didn't want the bad guys to be them to suck enough that they could always lose every episode. So, whereas if Shockwave was actually in charge, then the Decepticons would probably win.
Yeah, and
they couldn't have that happen.
And they gave Shockwave a British accent as well.
Yeah, that is the multi-talented Corey Burton as the voice of Shockwave.
But I mean, the stories are quite simple in the cartoon, but in the comic, I was in about 2008. I sort of read the first episode, the first comic, the first issue, the Transformers, and it used the word that I'd never heard of before or read. It used the word enervated, which means depleted of energy. And I was thinking, flipping out, this is a comic book for kids, and he used the word enervated. So it was written well, and then what happened was, I think the British comic came out more frequently than the American one, because the American one came out monthly. It might have come out every week in the UK, and what happened was they ran out of American stories to do, and then they started to write their own stories for Marvel UK, and then that's when a very good Transformers writer called Simon Furman took over, and he wrote a lot of good stories for Transformers.
So they started to drink a lot more tea.
Yeah, they actually used Simon Furman to write the story, the backstory behind the live action movie in 2007. The live action movie that you don't like. You don't like them.
All right, I'm being commanded to finish this video. So.
Okay, well you can go away and finish it, but I will continue going through the
okay.
photos.
See you everybody next time. You know, however many months it is until I do another one.
Yes. So
hopefully it's not that long.
Right. I will continue going through the photos. So bye-bye, Jeff.
Bye.
Bye. All right then. Here I am. So then, miniature work. What we got here? Let's go around here. Right. So yes, I try to get it in the moment of not a very good minute. When they sort of kept it on the miniature a little bit too long, a little bit too many frames. I think the locations were pretty good in this episode. So what they said in the book, industrial plant, looks a bit more like a dam. We got here. It was pretty good. Right. I took this for the sole reason of showing Josette Simon's figure. And also a good expression on Michael Keating's face as Verla. Again, another good location. This was quite airy. It's almost worth doing that as the thumbnail. There. I don't know. Zelda. Surreal instrumental music. Jeff would have liked that. Right, now I can talk about... Look at all these photos I've taken, folks, of the acting of Jacqueline Pearce. In fact, right then, now I can talk about Jacqueline Pearce. Now, she was trained at RADA, which is the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts. Now, in that acting style, they would have been taught from the outside in. So it's sort of technique, how to speak, the control of voice, because it's on stage. They want the whole of the audience to be able to hear them. Now, but she also studied acting at the Actors Studio in New York, where she would learn from the inside out. And she said that she took the best from each system. She said that a lot of the American acting style that she learned, she called, and I quote, a lot of self-indulgent wank. But she took what she found was useful. So one of the things she may have done in this when she was very upset is she may have used emotion memory, where the actor or actress learns to concentrate on a powerful memory and sort of channel it. And so that could be called. So she may just have the ability to be able to imaginatively go into that mode to feel the emotion, to just be. Or she may have used a substitution where she used powerful memory from her own life. So this is concentrating on the acting in her eyes. So there we go. You can see the moisture in her eyes. Nice lipstick as well. There she has an NF moment, which is weird because I think this character, the actress, is an NFJ, an INFJ, in my opinion. Definitely an NFJ. And I think Servalan is an INTJ. But the actress said, right, because I've got short hair, I'm not going to dress as it's written because I want to be feminine. So because I've got this short hair, so I'm going to dress. So you actually got this combination of an INTJ that dresses like an ENFJ because that's what the actress wanted. And the BBC at the time, she had a reputation. She was called a monster for like having this big ego and being hard to control. But there you can see what a good actress she is. So this is the moment where she's like feels the death of her children. Yeah, that's particularly good. Yeah, very moving. Yeah. The eyes. The eyes have it when it comes to acting. Yeah, she had some psychiatric problems with Jacqueline Pierce. She went to a convent school, and so she was very repressed, and she would have like, for her, and actually in relation to typology, she said that Freudian therapy did not work for her, but the Jungian therapy did work. Yes, why kill the babies? Here we go. There's Ginka. Another costume change. Yeah, the Robin Hood, and this I don't like. Baco foil. And Pierce. Andrew Morgan. The end. Right, so it didn't actually go on that much longer. So and just for something funny, look at this. SJ Plumbing and Heating. Right. Right then. Right. So that then, folks, is the end of this epic review. So bye bye.